Well, let me try and find another impartial and useful commentator, the Prime Minister, because she's wrapped you over the knuckles over this very issue. She thinks that this idea of we're not going to put up a hard border, let somebody else do it if they dare, this kind of game of chicken, is irresponsible and has said so much to you.
The Prime Minister said in her Mansion House speech that she wasn't going to do this. I think that is a mistake. I think it is the obvious negotiating position for us to have. Bear in mind, the Irish economy is heavily dependent on its trade with the United Kingdom. It is overwhelmingly in the interests of the Republic of Ireland to maintain an open border with the United Kingdom. And I think if you're going into a negotiation, you should use your strongest cards. And just to tear one of them up and set hairs running on other issues is, I think, an error.
OK, there's lots of errors that you think the government have made at this point, and things are, as it were, we're getting stuck in the sand. The wheels are whirling around and we're not moving forward at all. Are we now at the point where we have to walk away?
No, I very much support the Prime Minister in her approach to remaining within the negotiations. I think it's important to obey the formalities and the courtesies, but I think we should be clear and stronger. Basically, the deal is very simple. We are paying a very large amount of money, £40 billion, and in return we want a trade deal. Everything else is essentially incidental to that. The £40 billion is of great importance to the EU because after March next year, it still has 21 months of the multi-annual financial framework, and it expects that to be funded by the UK. It would have to cancel projects or get more money out of the Germans if it doesn't get our money.
But we've agreed to this already.
No, we haven't, because nothing's agreed until everything is agreed. And therefore we should reiterate that and say quite clearly that if we don't get the trade deal we want, you don't get the money. And that's a very strong negotiating position.
Is that a message for this summit? Do you think Theresa May should go and say, I know I agreed the 40 billion, but frankly, the way things are going, I'm changing my mind?
I think it's worth reminding them that nothing is agreed until everything is agreed, which is clearly set out in the December text, because the issues you mentioned, Galileo and so on, the European Union thinks it's in a position of negotiating strength. Without our money, it faces a real crisis next March, when it's facing problems from other countries too. If I were the EU, I might be a little bit more worried about what's going on in Italy than whether the UK can remain a full member of Galileo. That seems to be more important to the structure and the fortunes of the European Union.